Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is verb phrase 230. The verb phrase today is to double down. Okay, and we actually have three meanings and three uses today for double down. Let's look at the first one. The original meaning of double down came directly from the card game blackjack, and of course it's still used this way today. In the game of blackjack, if one is dealt, so if someone is dealt, a very good initial hand, so when they give it out, they got really good cards to begin with. A player could choose to double down by doubling the original bet, but on the condition that he could only draw one more card. So he's taking a lot more risk, but I guess he believes his cards are so good that he's willing to take that chance. Okay, and we have an example for this. He decided to double down on his hand. Well, hand here means a card hand. So the cards that you're dealt is your hand. So you can have a good hand, or you can have a bad hand, or a poor hand. That's what we mean. So your card hand. All the cards, as a group that you're looking at, that is your hand. Okay, let's look at number 2 here. By extension, a person could also double down on an investment, so even though investments sometimes are a little bit like gambling, so you could see how it kind of crossed over. Of course, by doing this, one also doubles one's risk. For example, if someone loses some money on a stock and at the same time still strongly believes in the recovery of its share price and its potential future profit, he or she may double down. Yes, a lot of people do this, although you really need to be careful with stocks when you do this, because this is how a lot of investors lose a lot more money. Sometimes they really have to question when the stock fell whether their original thinking was correct, because sometimes people do this and then they lose even more again if the stock does continue to go down. But of course, maybe they're right too. Sometimes people double down when they go down, so even if it goes back to the original price, sometimes they at least break even or do better. But it's one that you really need to be careful with. So anyway, let's take a look at the example here. Even though he is now 30% in the hole, so 30% in the hole means the stock fell 30% probably from the price the investor originally bought it at. Okay, so I don't know if he had $10,000 in the stock and now that same amount of shares is only worth $7,000, he would be 30% in the hole. So something like that. So of his original investment of 100 shares, he decided to double down and buy another 100 shares because he has faith the stock will recover and go up multiple times. So maybe he thinks it'll recover back to the price he bought it at, and maybe even double or triple from there. So he has a lot of faith in it. Now, of course, if he's right, it may pay off. But if he's wrong, it could lose a lot more. Sometimes investors do it because they don't want to admit to themselves that they made an initial mistake. So this is one you need to be careful with. Double check your research and make sure you're right if you're going to do this doubling down. Could pay off if you really are right. All right, and number 3 here. Nowadays, doubling down can also refer to greatly increasing one's effort in something, especially by working twice as hard. So somebody says they're going to double down, it means they're going to put in twice as much time or effort into accomplishing something. All right, so here's an example that we have here. I know this event is a setback, so something that, stopped them on their progress, but I decided to double down and put in twice as much effort to reach my goal. So I'm not just going to give up. I'm not just going to quit now. I'm just going to bear down. I'm going to double down and try even that much harder to make sure that I get to my goal. That's basically what they are saying. So we hear it used all 3 ways. Okay, anyway. I hope you got it. I hope it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.